Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Open Discussion Podcast. I have a special guest, my sister. Ma- I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to introduce you. Right, you are a nurse coach, military spouse for over 30 years. That's amazing. We're going to have to explore that a little bit more. Being a military spouse for 30 years. Married to a good friend of mine, a good guy that I look up to for the last 6, 7, 8 years now. What I've seen in person now, a mother, a professional, but really just a down to earth person. I was talking to somebody not too long ago when I first got to Germany. I knew I had to talk to the 7ATC Option major because I knew that his role and just our relationship has to be established. So I went up to your husband's office and we talked. And one thing he kind of informed me, he said, "Hey, my wife worked at the clinic. Whatever you want, just let me know." I said, "Well, I got you." So I kind of, took that around with it. Every time we have a problem, I usually call you or call. I said, "Just go talk to Myra. She's over. She's going to take care of you." So I want to say thank you for taking care of us. We started to set up that brigade within Germany. Our entire medical stuff is pretty supported with. So I want to say thank you. Thank you for who you are. Thank you for outstanding service, for being a military spouse, but most importantly, just for being a good person. I want to say thanks for taking time to come out here today rather than finish and share your story. And I believe this conversation will be profound. Will have a good impact on a lot of people. So thank you. How you doing?
I'm good. Long day at work, but that's what we do. We're going to keep going. I couldn't let you down.
I appreciate you.
Thank you guys stepped in and have this opportunity. I'm very excited to be able to just share my story as a military spouse.
I appreciate you. I don't know how you do it, right? Because we've been at different functions together back in Germany. The matter is at the CG's house and different places, whatever. And you always work in the room. You shaking everybody's hands, everybody know who you are, you're smiling, whatever. I told my current chaos sister, I don't know how she do it. You know, Everybody knows exactly who you are. You're very liked across the entire, as far as circulated C4 trade around you. So I just want to say I admire you for who you are, really, and impact you had on it because it had a profound impact on me. Just watching you work the room, shake hands, and smile. It was just amazing to watch you operate. As I stated, 30 years of military service because as a military spouse, you were there to support, your husband. Hang around that guy for 30 years. I'm trying to figure this stuff out myself, but that's a different conversation, right? So yeah, I want you to just go into it. How do you get involved in this whole military stuff? What's your journey was like, when it comes to the military? How did you get involved and move forward?
Well, the interesting thing is that you know Doug, and I'm sure pretty yeah, people that are following you are going to know him well as well. But his story is going to be different from my story. So I'm going to tell my story. I'm going
That's
to tell my
good.
But before I get started, I think how I got connected to the military, I think when I look back and see my life as a military spouse, I am able to reflect all the way back to my upbringing. And that's the root. I was able to determine who I am and where I come from and just some things that I grew up with. So a lot of, even people may know me, I don't even often share all of where I came from. So we're gonna put it out there. One thing I do always say is people know I'm a country girl. I claim country all the way. I'm a country girl. I wasn't born in Texas, but I was raised in Texas from a baby. Once I was born in Oklahoma and we moved to my parents came down to Texas. My dad was a pastor, so I am a PK.
Uh-oh.
Um, yeah, some people don't know that, but I am a PK. And then when he moved to Texas, he actually was joining a church. So he became just an evangelist and a servant through the church that we had joined. Just their upbringing and seeing that servant atmosphere, that's my root. And this is who sometimes I credit the military for the classes and things that they've given us and that I reached out for. But, maybe because my parents are now passed away, I definitely will give them 100% credit of everything that I am today is because of them. Who I am is because of my mom and my dad. More so my mom, but I give both of them credit because, um, you know, uh, they made us be who we are today. My sister, my brother, and that whole journey come from a little bitty small town with a blinking light, the yellow blinking light
Mm-hmm.
flashing, the
It
one
stays
light.
on.
Yeah, that's it. That's where I grew up from. People often through my spousal career would tease her like, "You always got your shoes off." Yeah, and I got them off right now. I already went outside and grounded today, but yeah, that's where I come from. So not only was he a pastor, we joined a Pentecostal church. So
Oh,
whoever knows about Pentecostal, that's a whole nother story
Yeah.
too. Yeah, so we had some foundations there, and my parents' intentions when they moved from California was to serve, and that's all I knew was service. So I grew up knowing how to serve and give selflessly. So when it comes to like servant leadership, I believe in that. That's it's a natural thing. It's my roots. I didn't have another choice. I remember times before, way before the military, where my mom and dad would bring people in their house. They would take us out of our rooms. We would stay in their rooms, and they would have families. We would have families in that house. So I know about just giving up things that are essential for us to have Maslow's hierarchy. We got to have our essential elements and needs. And if those are not met, we're not going to be able to progress. So those are some real true foundation that it's rooted. And one thing I tell people is if you met me in 1999 and you meet me again now, if I'm a different person, I wasn't who I was back in 1999. So I think truly people that know me, have met me, they will be able to say Myra is the same person. And that's the
Mhm.
same thing with my husband. I think that's why we kind of we came together because he's gonna be the same person. I'm gonna be
Yeah.
the same person. And we're real talk, real people. I grew up in a garden. This is why we got gardens. I have a
Mhm.
garden in every location that I went to and moved with in the military. But yeah, we um, I reflected a month or so ago, and I realized I thought I learned mindfulness when I went to yoga and meditation school. I remember my mom was sitting me down when I was a little kid, telling me, sit there and listen to yourself. Listen what's inside. She used to tell me that all the time. And I'm like, that just came back to me. So I'm like, well, maybe my friend really didn't teach me about mindfulness. I kind of already knew this mindfulness thing because it was ingrained in me when I was a kid. And I understand that. And this is why I feel I'm the natural person that I am. So yeah, that's kind of where I come from. When I got started, in order to get to know me, you got to know where I came from. So then let's move forward to say now I'm grown.
You
And
think
I
you're
think
growing now. Now you think
I
you're growing,
know.
right?
I think I got tired of the country because I still remember this video. And this is the old school video with the little what you call the little tape.
Yeah.
I remember them videoing us at for my graduation, and
The
the
VHS.
guy that yes, oh my gosh. He had his little camera, he was videoing all he said, Myra, so what you gonna do for when you graduate? What your future looks like? The first thing that my future look like is I will not be back in Baines, Texas. I
You
still
ain't
remember
going
that.
back.
No, I never went back just to visit. Never went back. And, I love the area. I love my mom's land and my dad's land. But no, I never went back not to live. I was going when I graduated. Deuces, I'm out.
See you.
I had to go because I'm like, it's more in life.
Yeah.
I told myself, and I knew that. And again, growing up Pentecostal, the Holy Ghost feel. You call whatever you want to call. They got a lot of names out there for what we were called back in the day. So I think God prepped me with that atmosphere and allowed me to be able to be a survivor as an adult for the military. And I truly believe in that. And I am a Christian and I'm saved. And this is something I always tease and say, God, please don't let me ever, turn my back on you. I don't want to experience that. I can look at other people. Don't put me in that position. But those are my foundations, and that you got to have a foundation, and everybody has something. We just don't. We forget we got it. I really believe at this point in my life, we already had a foundation. Somebody taught you some things in life, and we just kind of thought we wanted to do something different, and we still use those same root foundations that is where we are, where we needed to be a survivor, to be successful, to be a servant to this world where we are. So moving forward, so I never went back to Brownwood, Texas, Baines, Texas. I'm really from Baines, but I claim Brownwood. So once I moved, I met Doug. I was in Killeen, Texas. I worked at 440
Oh,
McDonald's. And we just recently went back
Killeen,
there and I'm like,
Texas.
oh my God, what happened to the tree? The tree is gone. They cut the tree down. So I was working at 440 McDonald's. I was a manager there. And your friend came in one day and was like, he was doing Doug. We're not going to go into all that, but
Probably
he was
telling some
doing
lies.
Doug.
You think he got game or something,
Yes, oh
huh?
my God. Well, I will say this one story. On his side of the story, he would always come, and I was a night manager. I did night and breakfast, but he got the mop and he got to swinging the mop and singing, and I'm like, oh my God, this dude, come on, you a distraction.
Oh, yeah.
Distraction. But he's been a distraction for me in a good level because he helped me to be a better person,
Yeah.
and he's strengthened me in so many ways. Like I said, I had my root, but when you get a good partner, you learn how to manage and balance these things. And I believe in that as well. So we got married, we were in Killeen. And so these are the things that we don't agree with. We dated for a month. At the end of that month, we got engaged. At the end of that month, we got married.
That's
Now,
amazing.
I know, 3 months.
That's amazing.
I know. So when I tease people, what y'all waiting for? You
Well,
didn't
take
hear.
you guys so long, right? Just maybe
You know what?
well, you know,
Get to know him while you're dating. You know him, you're gonna be committed. Because the main thing is the commitment. Are you gonna be committed? I knew I was gonna commit, and that's why I think I may have made him ask me to marry him.
that's what he told me. He said when you first met him and stuff, you chasing him out in the parking lot. You couldn't go home. You were after him, and I said, well, that's what it is, man. She know exactly what she wanted.
Yeah, and that is true because I was intentional, and
That's
I've
yeah.
always kind of been intentional. I've always been intentional, and having that foundation, I saw a future, and that future included him. So yeah, I saw it. I'm like, yeah, God, if this is supposed to be, he gonna have to ask a question. But uh, this is how I said. Check this out. I ain't here to play games.
Nah, nah.
Yeah, I'm not here to play games. If you're not ready, just go on. Do you, and I'ma do me.
No what
But
time.
yeah, exactly. I need to. Yeah. We don't need to play games. The other interesting with that, from there, here's military life. We got married. I told you in those 3 months, and then the next month, deployment. Ooh, yes, you got some. I'm a young country girl, and they're talking all this lingo. Now, at the time, I was in nursing school, so at the time, I was in my nursing program at CDC, Central Texas College, and he's like, "Hey, they want all the families to come to this meeting." And I'm like, "Okay, cool." I went. It was a big auditorium. There's a whole bunch of people there. And I'm sitting at the top because I'm like, I don't know these people. And I'm kind of like, and I
Trying to
am
figure
shy.
things out.
I'm an introvert, but I am by nature. But I went, I signed my name. They wanted everybody's name and phone number. I put my name and phone number down there. The ladies were smiling. I'm like, oh, these people are nice. Oh, they're so happy. That's who I am. And naturally, I'm a natural happy person. I said, oh, I like this. And at the same time, I said, hey, I'm in school. Doug, they left and went deployed. And here come the FRG leader. Ring, ring. She called me. She's like, hey, um, I'm the FRG leader, and I wanted to let you know they were going to do a bake sale or something. I remember one story I didn't tell. I had a bad experience in the midst of once we got engaged. I was invited to some things, and I'll get this, but I was invited to a meeting, ladies, a spousal lunch, and I'm young and I didn't know anything about the military. And it was said to me, "Hey, what do your husband do?" And I knew he was a tanker. And I said, "He's a tanker." And then the next phrase was, "Oh, he's a dad." And I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." And I'm like, "My baby's a dad." All excited. So when I went home and told Doug, and he was like, nah, that ain't good. And he had some other things to say, but he's like, yeah, that's not cool. And let me tell you what this means. And you're gonna have to understand some stuff about military. And I was like, well, why would they? And then
Yeah,
I
why
just
would they
didn't
do that?
yeah, I just didn't understand. I'm like, why would they do that? So now going back to the FRG lady called me. And my first thing, like, nah, I don't got time. I'm in school. I don't do foolishness. And
Yeah.
that's one thing I haven't changed. I don't do foolishness. Yeah. Day 1, day 2, day 3, and you keep on counting. I don't play with foolishness. So with that being said, I was disconnected. I'm like, yeah, no, this ain't gonna work for me. And then she said, well, no problem. If you don't want to come out, that's okay. She said, if you like to bake, you can bake or something. We always take something like that. I do like to cook.
Mhm.
Okay, I got you. I can bake some stuff. So I baked things, took it up there, and I was done. While we were in that rotation, never had any connection with FRG. So I was in school. The day Doug came back from his rotation of deployment, I took my final.
Mm.
So I thank God for that. I remember praying on that. I'm like, I don't need this distraction with just anything. I didn't want any distraction. So I accepted the fact that he's gone to school, focus. I finished school, I focused. And then from there, he came back. Just like every typical military family, couples, yep, that was us. Got pregnant.
Deployment babies. Oh, the post deployment babies, right?
Been there, done that, got pregnant. So, but I had got a job. I start working. because I'm like, hey, I went to school for a purpose. I'm gonna be a nurse. Doug took me to my. This is funny. Doug took me to my interview. Sat outside of the interview, and then the lady walked me out after the interview was over, and she had hired me on the spot. And then Doug said, "Well, did you hire her?" I'm like,
Typical Doug.
"Ooh," I said, "You
Typical
can't
Doug,
say that."
man.
He said, "Well, it's nice that you asked me because I asked her. I was concerned about transportation, and she let me know that you guys only had one car." And he said, "Oh, so you hired her?" He said, "Well, that ain't gonna be no problem." We left right then and went and got a car. So I start working within the year of being in school and start working because that's what I knew outside of the military. My mama worked. If you weren't working in a job, you were working on the land, you were
Doing
serving, you
something.
were working in the church. You was always doing. You had to work.
Yeah.
So I again understand service, and then from there we just got. That's where we got to moving around.
So this the
That's
question I got for you though, because you experienced something that impacted you the way you like, I'm just stay away from what's going on over there and trying to support the best way that I can, right? What changed? Because we all go through different transformation, different transition. You can do organization, you're brand new, as you stated, trying to figure this whole and stuff up. But it's two questions, right? What changed? And as you navigate through the first stage, meaning he's a young soldier, going through the ranks, whatever, how were you able to balance that in your profession at the same time?
So it was some things that changed. And I know you got a couple of questions in there, but one of the things, and I will go with what changed, was up on our about third rotation, we left Texas and Doug got orders to go recruit.
Mm.
And he told me we were PCSing. I'm like, oh, cool.
What's
What's that
that?
mean? I'm like, oh, what's that? Oh, yeah. He's like, yeah, we're going to move. I'm like, oh, where we moving to? We're going to get a big apartment. What we going to get?
Man, that's
You know,
funny.
no, we're going to Georgia. I'm like, Georgia, wait a minute, I'm
Georgia,
pregnant.
what's over there?
I said, wait a minute, no, I'm pregnant. My mama can't reach Georgia. I'm like, no, she right down the street. Yeah, this is something I wasn't ready for. So that changed. So I actually we PCS for the first time. So we had our little challenges with recruiting, and we can go into recruiting if you want. But I think every rotation, everybody gonna have some kind of
Yeah,
challenge. But what really changed for me, that changed my mind, because recruiting is different. You're not really connected in the military
yeah,
lifestyle. So that's is slightly different. So I understood community from my upbringing. Again, what I said about being in church. So you have your community. That is so vital. It's been vital for me. Still today, I have some kind of community. You got to have a community, whatever that community is. Even if it's your intimate family, that's
yeah.
okay. But you got to have a community. So then from Georgia, we actually went to Germany. And
Oh,
this for me is what changed. And I just got to telling you, I was tripping over trying to leave Texas. My gosh. I'm like, OMG, I gotta move to across the water. And then I was like, where is Germany? So I'm like, this is wonderful. Oh my gosh. So
oh,
the nice thing for me, we had my aunt lived across the street from my mom. So she was like another mom, and she actually was a military spouse. So
okay.
me and my mom had a really tight relationship. But I developed a stronger relationship with my auntie when we went to Germany overseas. And we talked, I mean, constantly. We talked, and she just kind of rooted me and coached me and helped me. She knew all the things, all the things. So that helped. But Doug decided to leave, and this is choices that people make. Doug decided to leave and get set up. He said, I didn't want, I know he knew I was nervous. So he said, I'm going to go to Germany, make sure we get everything. Because most military moves, sometimes you're in a hotel, you
Yeah.
stand, in between all this, we done had a second kid already.
Mm.
Yes, yes, we had 2 kids now, and we're getting ready to leave. So he said, "I'm gonna go set up." He went and got set up. Once he got his, "Hey, I got the apartment. Imma go ahead and get orders, and so it may take a second for you to get over here." So we got that started. He even was nice enough to be able to get the boxes, the truck delivered. So I remember the house, I'm like, "Oh, wow, we got a house full of boxes." "Okay, no problem." So he did that. On my way over here, coming from Pentecostal, I just thought the devil was all everything. I'm serious. From the second my uncle and my daddy drove me to the airport, I had 50,000 bags. I think they allowed 2 bags in the carry-on.
You got
I
your
got
whole life with you.
2 kids of babies in diapers because Eric was in pull-ups, Aaron's in diapers. I had the car seat and I had the little the smaller
Stroller
cars,
stuff, yeah.
stroller. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this is crazy." And my uncle and my dad was like, they both served. So they're like, "Okay, we're gonna drop you off." And then boom, the baby had a blowout.
Ooh, ooh.
I'm like, "Oh, the devil is a lie."
Never so long.
So, and this is after the lady took all my bags because I'm sitting there and she said, "Where you going, baby? You traveling by yourself?" And I said, "Yes, ma'am." She said, "Oh, no, this ain't gonna work." And she said, "Look, give me all this stuff. I want you to right here. They gonna be in the chair. Get you some diapers, get you a change of clothes, and just put it in one thing. And you gonna get your handbag, your passports." She said, "I don't even want you to take that stroller." And she took all that stuff away from me. And then after she did that, they pushed it over. Boom! Here come Aaron with the blowout. So we had to go to the Walmart and got some clothes. And when we came back, I'm just like, "Oh my gosh, this is." My dad's like, "You gonna be good? You gonna be good?" I'm like, "I don't know about this, Dad. Maybe Doug can just stay there by himself." And then again, I said my dad and my uncle both served, and they encouraging me like, "Hey, baby girl, you got this. Going over there with your husband. He needs the support." I'm like, "I got this." Again, foundation. And one of my mantras always, I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. Even in the midst, even, even look, I'm sorry, even in the midst of whatever I was going through, I chant that to myself. And this is before I haven't even taken no military classes yet. We ain't even got there.
You ain't got
So
that far yet, right? You
yeah, so
experienced some
a
things already.
foundation. My foundation is 100% my Christian upbringings and my connection with the higher power. So that's my connection. So I'm sitting here getting on this airplane. So as I go, this is how I felt the enemy was just attacking me. No, seriously. And I've told this story to people because I'm like, "Hey, y'all don't realize I travel by myself with two kids and one in a car seat, one barely can walk, and they both in diapers." I'm sitting here, like we get on the plane, they announced and they came to me. They said, "Hey, ma'am," it was a delay. They had a delay where we flew out of, and they came to let me know the plane is delayed. Your flight, you may miss it. I was like, "No, I ain't gonna miss my flight."
I gotta go see
They're like,
Doug.
"Yeah,
I ain't gonna miss this
yeah,
flight.
we trying to work some things out. We working some things out for you." Moving the story on, we made it on time. Somebody's met me at the gate, took my babies, and I'm like, "Oh my God." They took the boys, the car seat. They said, "Leave them in the car seat." I'm running, they pushing. We get there. The lady I got the passports running like, "Okay, we get my passports." So I'm running the people at the gate like, "Come on, come on. Are you the mayoress?" "Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am." I'm like, "Okay." And she said, "Here." I said, "Where my kid?" They said, "We already put him on the plane." I'm like, "Oh my God." So I'm running. I get to the plane. I'm going down the aisle. I get on the plane. I see Aaron flopping. People, this is when I knew I was going to be okay. The people on the plane, they're passing him back.
Right.
And he's just like, "Hey, mommy." Hey.
You're on the
Somebody,
show.
I don't know who these people were. These are my angels. They buckled him in. They got the other kid, my other son, break and buckled him in. I sat down. The guy on my right side, he said, "I already ordered you a drink." I was like, "I don't even drink." I was like, "Oh my gosh." And then we took off and we made it. From that day forth, God let me know, "I got you. You're going to always have support. It's not going to be easy, but you're going to have support." And from there, we got there. Going back to my husband, Doug, the day we arrived, it was like midweek. That weekend, the ladies in the neighborhood, they said, "Hey, we're going on a trip shopping and we want to invite you." I'm like, "Oh, cool." So I said, "Doug, I want to go to this trip." He said, "Yeah, go with the ladies." So I went to the trip. Before that trip, one of the guys was having a birthday party or some kind of celebration. Doug went, and this is when he first got his injury that gave his eye injury. He got hit in the back and messed his eye up. Now, this is a little selfish. I ain't saying I'm perfect because I'm like, why he ain't home yet? We get ready to go on a trip and you ain't
Yeah,
home
you at
yet.
home. Come on, man. We got time to
No.
play around over here.
Yeah. So I didn't make that trip because he was in the hospital and like he never came home. And I told the ladies, "Hey, my husband ain't home. I ain't gonna be able to go because we were leaving early." And then sure enough, one of the neighbors came and said, "Hey, Doug's in the hospital." I'm like, "Yeah, this ain't going ready to go good." But again, going back to my upbringing, I know I can hear God's voice, and I know He told me He was always gonna take care of me. He
That's
won't ever
amazing,
leave.
though.
No, He won't ever leave me or forsake me. Yeah, that's what changed for me was that incident. The
Nice,
incident
yes.
that he got hit in the house in the face, and people just poured into us and just took care of us. I'm young, and we were just happened to be in Kaltenbrunn in, Germany. Everywhere you looked, it was people that was just service. They were giving, they were just loving on us, helping us, and I'm like, "Wow, this is something else."
That's
Yeah, so
amazing
I
because
met
we just talked about, right, the idea of TCS, and most people within their lifespan, they probably change location probably once or twice. I mean, people who's not in the military, right, would probably go to school in the city, born and raised, and just stay there. Or sometimes move to a different state.
yeah,
For military folks, you TCS almost every 2, 3, 4 years, whatever, multiple times. And just imagine, like you said, right, children, bags, and stuff. That's what military spouses be with every day.
every day.
And you said something that's very profound in terms of the community, right? I just want to explore that just a little bit more in terms of the military community because I have a huge appreciation for military spouse because people really don't get to see what is happening in the back. All they see so far is just, the service members, they show up to work, they deploy, they doing the best they can, but they don't get to see exactly what's driving that train really in the background with the spouses. And it's important really to have that good community. From my experience of every military community I've been through, been pretty positive. The women always come together, just make things happen. I don't know how you guys do it, but it just happened. So my question to you here is how important is that to you or for you in terms of having a good marriage spouse community, and what is the positive really of having a good community where most especially brand new spouses. You can marry a guy or girl today and he or she's going overseas, you go overseas by yourself. There's nothing there. But what is that community means to you, or why you think it's important to have those positive things in place?
Yeah. So I want to just say is if you don't got it, you ain't gonna make it. You got to have it. And again, I've already said it once. It didn't have to be the actual military. You have to have a community. You got to have somebody. You have to have somebody. And if you only have one, you need more than that because if that person busy, you got to call somebody else. You got to have that support, and that's what support is about. So for me, that was my moment where God started mentoring, showing me different mentors at a young level in the military. You remember I said earlier, I did. I put the hand up and said, "No, I don't got time for all this spousal stuff." And one of the phrases I used to tease to tell other spouses was, I said, "Yeah, y'all too much like sororities. I ain't got time. So I don't do all that. I don't do that." And then I used to always say, "But you want something cooked? I will cook something, but I
Yeah.
ain't gonna hang out with you." So in Germany, once Doug got hurt, it's a vital piece for me was I told you this man came that I didn't really know because we were new. I was only in Germany like 3 days. And some man came knocking on my door. And then I remember saying, "Hey, I'm not getting ready to come downstairs to open the door." And they're saying, "Hey, you need to come down. It's the neighbor." So I'm like, "Okay, let me come down there." I come down there. And they said he was in the hospital. So the first 24 hours was a little rough. Okay. Because these people, all the women were gone.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. The first 24 hours was rough for me. When they got back though, the first thing when they came back, they took care of me. However, in the midst of that, that's a long gap for some crisis. I don't got no license. I got 2 infants, kids
Mm.
in my house. I don't know this language. I knew voice de bonhomme.
That's all you do.
I had started learning my numbers. So
Oh.
I 3 days in the country,
Mm.
and I'm like, "I'm a nurse, I gotta get to this hospital so I can make sure that he's gonna be taken care of." So, in the midst of doing all that, I had the command sergeant major's wife and the colonel's wife eventually got to me within the first few days. But for me, my young demand and support, where this FRG y'all got? Yeah, y'all talking about this FRG, ain't they supposed to be helping folks? Where
Helping
these
folks.
people at? So sure enough, they said, "Hey, she wants some help." We got the help came. I'm still friends with these women today.
Mm.
She come to my house, real people. This is why you gotta know real people. She said, "Look, baby girl, we got you. This is what FRG do. You're in a crisis, we help our people in crisis. When you get out of that crisis, we help the next person in crisis." I said, "Well, sign me up. I'm down. What you need me to do? I'm in crisis. I need help. And I promise y'all." And that's when when I made the promise, I made that promise and I never went back on it. "Y'all get me through this. I promise you, I will seek and help every military person that's having issues and problems because I know how this feels and it don't feel good. It don't feel good." And I never turned back. I never
Right.
turned back. And that day, after I got to know the sergeant major's wife, she had told me, um, how many pair of shoes you got?" At the time, I had a whole bunch. I said, "I got a handful." She said, "Do you put the ones on that hurt still?" I said, "Yeah, I do." And she's like, "Okay." She said, "But you like the ones that feel better though, right?" "Yeah, I do." She said, "Well, that's what FRG is about. You don't get one pair of shoes. You're gonna have different pairs of shoes, and you don't just stop wearing them because it's tight and it's
It's painful.
uncomfortable. Yeah, you push through that, and you wore them to that ball. You're gonna wear them to make yourself look cute." And I was like, "I will never forget that." And I said, "Yeah, right now they tight." And I turned my head away from FRG when I was young and didn't understand what the purpose was. I said, "But I'm telling you, sign me up, what you need me to do." And from there, I started taking classes. I went to ACS. ACS became my best friend.
Mhm.
I called AC Army Community Services. I tell people everywhere, they're your best friend.
Yeah.
They're gonna always be there. They know everything. They know everything, anything and everything you need, every resource. If they don't have it, they're gonna get you to it.
Yeah.
That became my best friend, and that's when because at the time I wasn't working. I took every class they had, and I just dug in and learned. All I did was just learn about the military, learn. When people needed help, I was there. They needed someone cooked, I was there. They needed whatever they needed, I cleaned. Seriously, I was cleaning. I didn't mind doing anything that you needed. I'm down for it because I know what they did for me to
Yeah.
help me. And I mentored that throughout my career as a military spouse. And it was only one major other time that I felt that I needed to help. Because this is another thing that becomes my stubbornness from upbringings is you got to be in a position to help, not to be always handing out. Say, "Oh, give me
Yeah.
some, give me some, give me some." We need to be in that position to be able to be a servant. So I always made myself that servant. When Doug was in Kentucky, again, we were there within 24 days, 30 days, 6 weeks, something like that, deployed.
Hmm.
I bonded with the women shortly after Doug left, broke my ankle.
Well,
And
what,
I'm like,
dancing? You were dancing, you broke your ankles or something?
"No, we went ziplining."
Okay.
I know. I had a big story made up and it was false. Yeah, I yeah, just a zip line and broke my ankle. The zip line didn't do it. I was standing up. How you break your ankle standing up? I got proof you can do
Yeah,
it.
just sitting there, no
7
problem.
screws in a plate later, I'm doing good. But this group of women was the next level for me. And this is when Doug made Command Sergeant Major. These Niner women, when I say they was amazing, and I got plenty of friends, and I'm not saying you just got to be a rank,
Yeah.
but these women were mentors, they were models, and they showed the most elevated level of caring for each other. Before I can even leave the emergency room, these women had 2 months planned to take care of me and my family.
Right.
Our unit had to ask, not permission, but like, "Hey, y'all done what's going on? We gonna take care of her?" They're like, "Yeah, we'll give you a week, but no, we got her."
Look,
Yeah, so that right there, it sealed the deal for me to push forward to say, "Yeah, it ain't going back. If you need help, you've been serving all this time, and when you
yeah.
need the help, here it is. You've done good service to people over the years as a military spouse, and now you got injured, boom, Imma give this right back to you."
Man, that's
Yeah,
amazing, right? Because sometimes it's a testament of who you are. And then you've
yeah,
been there, you're helping somebody else and making sure you're involved with different things. Because sometimes military spouses believe they are compelled to be part of the organization. And they're not really, but you can help and provide assistance the best way that you can. And like
yeah,
I said, I've yet to encounter a negative response as FRG because that's the whole concept behind it, right? It's a family and it's an organization, it's a group, and it's a culture to help each other out.
yeah,
You just talked about when Doug made Sean Major. I want to talk about that a bit if you don't mind, because now you are at a different level now, right? The expectation is different now. You can see your same wife. And how were you able to really, I don't want to say separate, but balance you being yourself, being a mother, a profession now, because you work and everything else, and then it's Sean Major's wife. How were you able to balance that two, wear those two hats at the same time, still being who you are as a person? Because you still your own person at the end of the day, no matter what, you're still your own person. But now you see as your wife, there's some expectation, where you got to be, what you got to do, how you got to conduct yourself. You're working as well, trying to manage all of that. So what was the secret sauce to balancing that for us?
The first thing I'm gonna say is being rooted in who I am. I didn't change that for nobody. Yeah. When Doug had just been staff sergeant when we met, and I was Myra then, and I was Myra when he was command sergeant major. I wasn't perfect, but I'm like, I don't change. Imma be who I am, and there's some things that this is who I am. So I have to portray who I am. However, in the military, there's a phrase that says, "It's lonely at the top." And a lot of people, they still use this phrase, "It's lonely at the
Yeah.
top." And I think it's more fear. And I say this because going back to some of the things that I was introduced to, we had good friends even before Doug made Command Sergeant Major. And they let me know way back before we went to, this was after Germany. I continue to have that mentorship to say, we are spouses. And it just takes, they say one bad apple won't mess the bunch up,
The
right?
bunch up, yeah.
And it's true because all you gotta do is pluck that out and move it on. But if depends on the wherever that damage is in that apple, if it's leaning too hard on
Another one.
that apple gonna get a little burnt up too. So you may get rid of 2, maybe 3 apples. And I really believe that's how military spouses is. We are the majority that I've encountered, we are supportive. One thing in our house that we didn't do was talk about rank. That was a rule. We didn't talk about rank. My boys didn't know rank, and then I felt bad because they didn't know what rank was
Very well.
until we went to Germany, until he made Command Sergeant Major, even when we went to Fort Campbell. When we went to Fort Campbell, I was like, yeah, I guess I better say something about some rank now. And by that time, though, they were like, oh, okay, whatever.
The
We
light that
they
went
didn't
over.
care. So
Yeah.
I never had a problem with rank. I never did. One, I'm still learning rank still sometimes, especially because I'm at a joint base. I'm at a joint base, so I'm still learning, like, what's
Yeah.
that? And I said, oh, it's Marines, what you do?
Mhm.
So I just accepted people. We didn't have rank in there. And people, even today, they tease me and say, I appreciate you welcoming me in. My husband was I said, I don't even care what he was. And I would put my hand up. No,
Yeah.
that doesn't matter. It's not about the rank. It's about the families.
The people, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Your crisis is a crisis. It
Mhm.
ain't prejudice.
There's no rank involved. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Everybody
yeah,
gets sick. Everybody go through crisis,
no.
so the rank
So
has nothing to do with it.
yeah, that's what rooted me was the fact that we didn't talk about rank. I wasn't rank seeking. I wasn't doing that. I just wasn't. And even when Doug, it was one rank that he got and he said, "Hey, I want you to go and look this up to see if I made the list." And he said, "I'm gonna send it to you." He couldn't open it. So he sent it to me. I said, "What you want me to look for?" I'm on it. I'm looking, I'm typing. And he said, "Okay, just look for my name. All you gotta do is look for my
It's
name."
one
And
name.
I'm like, "Okay." So I looked and he said, "You see my name?" I said, "I'm just getting to the M's." I'm scrolling. He said, Hurry up." I was like, I'm like, "Oh." I said, "Oh my gosh." He said, "Well, you see my name?" I said, "I see your name. Oh my God." So he like, "Oh my God." We screaming, he hollering. I didn't know what I'm hollering. His name was on the list. He done went and told everybody he was on the list. And then some his boss or whoever came was like, "Man, that list they sent you was everybody that got looked at.
Not everybody got selected.
You didn't make this round." So right there, I was like, I'm done. I
That's when
said,
no rank stuff no more, right?
I'm
Oh,
just see that disappointment and know I participated in it. That's another thing about me. I don't like to let people down. So when I'm serving with my heart. Kevin Hart said, "Say it with your chest."
then
No,
with your
I serve.
chest.
Yeah, I serve with my heart. I'm giving you everything, and that's just who I am. So I'm like, yeah, I'm done with that. As you rank, that's fine, but I'm not getting ready to participate because now I made you feel bad, and I feel bad about it. And I say all that to say, I think that's what kept me grounded because even though military, they still have some segregation going on when it comes to ranking, whatever your rank, your positions,
Yeah.
your MOS.
There's some hierarchy.
Everybody
Yeah, some.
yeah, everybody has it, and it's a thing, I mean, it's call the thing, it's a thing.
Yeah. I want to talk about, I knew you talked about it earlier as far as when a dog saw, I think it's, talked about this on many occasions. I think farming can be one of the most stressful times for family members. I guess possibly deploy for he or she is in a combat zone that things happening, and it is stressful. How are you able to rather, with the kids and yourself and working and then, your spouse to go forward, praying to God who comes home alive, how are you able to really navigate that? In terms of you deploy, you home, the kids, you working, what kept you going?
So, during Doug's deployment, even from when we got married, I was zoned in. I was in school the first time. The next time we were in Germany and I had support there. I was attached to the units. I kept myself involved. But if I had to use one word, I would say intention. I was very intentional about being connected. And I think even though it may be fearful to be connected, I didn't want to not be connected and not know. Yeah. And I'm in public health preventive medicine. So that's just the way my brain functions. I function that way to help prevent things from happening. So if I can know what's going on. One, I can pray for it. Two, I can prepare for it. And three, I can help discuss and talk and bring, others together. And those are the things that I did. I was just intentional. It wasn't easy. I still remember the fearful times. I remember when Doug got blown up. I can still visualize myself. And I'm gonna just take a pause right here. Spouses, we get PTSD too.
Yes. Totally
We
believe.
do.
Totally believe. Yeah.
Yep. And
Yeah.
it's not talked.
Yeah.
I can close my eyes and see everything about my bedroom when that phone call came.
Mm.
I had already talked to Doug, and the first thing I told Doug, he said, "Hey, we had an accident, but everybody's okay." I said, "Okay, what was the accident?" He said, "We got hit." I said, "What?" And then I was a trauma nurse, so I'm like,
Right.
"Hey, you just tell me straight up, what's up?" And he's like, "We got blown up." And I'm like, "Okay, let's hang up. Call me so I can see you. I'm getting ready to do this assessment. I'm getting ready to do this assessment."
You
No,
better treat her as a patient now.
yeah, you all where you are, I'm getting ready to do me a international triage. So he's like, "Look, I don't got time for this." I said, "Look, you gonna call me right now on video so I can see you." So he hung up, called me back, and he like, "Look, look, 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 look." And I'm like, "Okay, I'm good." I said, "I'm good. I know you okay. We'll worry about the mental side of this later." I said, "Go take care of your people."
Mm.
I couldn't get that. And he said the phones were getting ready to go down. And that they're how they take the
Yeah.
phones off of one call, and he was using another line or whatever. I got a phone call. Now, I'm telling you, I hung up. The phone rings. It's one of my key callers, and this is a position that is in the FRG.
Right.
So we train spouses to help support and call each other. He hollering this, "Oh my gosh, I just heard Doug blew up." And that right there is a no-go. It's a no-go. So thank God I was who I was because I was able to like, "Yeah, we're not gonna have this conversation. Let's calm down and and don't don't you call nobody else. You're not allowed to call nobody else, and we're gonna get through this together." And she's like, "How are you so calm?" And again, I go back to I told you from the start,
Your beginning
ground.
outbreak.
Yep. What my mama taught me. And if you don't know who you are, one of my key points I used to tell people is take yourself out to a coffee. If you can't sit with yourself to
Mm.
drink a coffee, a tea, or something in public and enjoy that atmosphere and in your own company, what makes you think somebody else gonna want to do that with you?
Okay.
Yeah. So I used to do that to myself to sit and listen and to hear and to connect. Yeah. So that's real talk. I mean, it's interesting, but that's how I survived. I didn't depend on my own powers. I had to reach high all the time and depend on a higher power. That's the way I did it. Other people do other things. And if it's working, keep doing it. If it's good and healthy for you.
It's
And it
rather
was
poorly,
healthy.
right? It's good and
Yeah.
healthy. So I want to jump into transition, right? Because you guys have done this wonderful military stuff, 30 some years. Now it's time. So maybe it's time to go to transition, and that's another phase of just being in the military because now you've been doing something for over 30 years. Now you have to pivot to something else. You've been in there and now the kids are growing. You end up trying to figure out where to go back, whatever. How was that discussion about and how you describe you guys in terms of transition? Was it difficult for you to transition? I mean, I know you worked during the entire time of the military. You was a nurse, you always work at the clinic. Now you not on the military installation anymore. You're going to a civilian sector now. So how was that for you in terms of how did you transition? And what are some recommendations you give to military spouses who may be going through transition?
Yeah. And after just seeing the fact that I got a call to say my husband blew up, I thought that was hard. And maybe God just built me up to this level because retirement and that transition was a whole nother hard.
Yeah.
It was a whole nother hard. I am very grateful of my background in health because I was able to understand his transition. So, I'm just blessed that way. And everybody don't have that background. However, I get calls from people often, and the thing I tell them is to hang in there.
Man.
If you can give him space to be him and to find him, or do that because it's going to be worth it. Allow them to get to know them again. You got to get to know yourself also. Me, I had to get to know myself to do something transitioning, getting different, doing different things. I'm not praying to, make sure you don't blow up, Jesus. Now I'm like, make sure you get out of bed, Jesus.
Yeah.
So, and I giggle, but those were the things. I come home and I'm like,
It's a different fight. It's a completely different
it's a
fight.
different fight. And coming from a mental health background, I'm like, I just had to pray, like, God, this ain't what I do. And again, I was able to say, God was able to let me know, this ain't for you. This is His. And I had to let Him do Him. And I'm so proud of Him because he did it. And we have to not give up on our service members. I mean, I know so many people that relationships end because it's challenging. It's challenging. It's not easy. It's not. And I won't ever tell anybody life is easy. I still tell people we went 10 years of marriage before we bought our own furniture.
Mm.
Yeah. I said, so if you complaining about I don't got no furniture, like I took 10 years. You don't look at me and say, oh, you got, girl, this took 10 years to get.
It's a work in progress. We put in the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
So keep your own identity. And I had already had that. So going back to my foundation, I knew who I was. And I continue to develop that over every year, every second, every hour, every day.
Mhm.
I try to get to know me because I'm like, I like taste buds. Our taste buds change every, no, they do. They change every 7 to 10 years. You get, taste buds change. Yeah. You're like, oh, I couldn't eat lemon. Now I can eat lemons. I don't even like that. I didn't like coconut. I like it now.
Yeah.
So, values, goals, things like that change. So when you as a spouse are able to have your identity, and my identity started at the beginning of our relationship because I was already had a goal.
Yeah.
I was in school and then I didn't start. My goal was to serve as a nurse and I kept doing that. Now, one thing I do want to let people know is because of my move, I didn't just become a registered nurse immediately. I had to drop out of school. I done been enrolled in like a handful of different schools. I went from a Central Texas college as an LVN, moved on to my ADN, moved on to my BSN, moved on to my MSN, and not all in a row. And I got to get to the point where I had to put my foot down and say, hey, this is my vision too.
Yeah.
I will not move from this location until I want PCS from this location until I get my degree.
I agree.
That was in Michigan. That was my RN. And I promise you, we graduated on a Wednesday. The movers came on a Thursday.
Right.
Real talk. So sometimes we have to learn how to prophesy and confess things. And I believe in that. So whatever your beliefs are, you have to believe in that and confess that. Our marriage is going to make it. My husband is going to be fine. My wife is going to be fine. Get support, get help. This stuff is real. Don't do it by yourself. I got people to talk to.
Yeah.
We are in counsel. Why do we go to counsel? Because it's good for us.
Yeah.
Talk to somebody. We got to get to know each other separately. Our kids grown and gone. I don't have to cook for nobody no more. Well, I mean, seriously, that was what I depended on. As a wife, we didn't have a bunch of money at the beginning, so I was cooking everything. I was very frugal with the money that came in. I was very intentional about jobs that I selected. So I took my time to be intentional to say, hey, you may want to get a home health job so you can come and go. That'd be a little bit easier than getting a 12-hour shift because his job, yeah, you got to look and balance and be respectful to everybody's decision. It is not just your service. It's my service. It's my kids' service. It's my mama's service. It's that extended family service. Everybody is serving this because when I call out for help, I expect to help. And that's one thing I am intentional about. I'm serving to you and I need to trust that if I gave back to you, that I know God's going to lead me to the people that's going to be able to give back to me. And that's what happened over our careers. So intentional about knowing who you are, knowing what you think, knowing what you believe in, knowing what you portray and put out in the atmosphere, because that stuff will be manifested.
That's
That's
good.
my,
No,
and
that's
that's
pretty
my,
good.
yeah,
That's
that's
pretty
my
good.
belief. Some people don't believe in it, but I will let you know over 90% of the world believe in a higher power.
Yeah.
So reach out to that higher power. Whoever needs that higher support, reach out to that higher power to say, hey, I need that support. And when you confess it, it's going to happen.
Thanks for sharing that. Before I let you go here, just the last question for you. If you was to create I don't want to say a checklist, but a list, to give it to another spouse that is currently serving, I'm in serving 3 or 5 things you need to with my master list, things that you should focus on, things I recommend you do, things you should not do, whatever it is. Everybody's different, right? Based on your experience. What's that master list look like from a military spouse perspective?
Well, look, I'm going to have to tell y'all to tune in because that's one of the things I've been contemplating on is putting a book together for this particular reason. So tune in for the future. It may be something coming.
Can't wait to see it.
But
Can't wait.
yeah, thank you. But because you can't, it's more than just that, it's just like, look at it like food. You may not like greens, but you like spinach. So, it's a balance. We talk about balance all the time. I don't like to talk about balance because I'm like, let's change that. It's a choice. So healthy choices. You have to be intentional about those healthy choices. But the first thing I said is you have to get to know yourself. So that's going to probably be number one. If you don't know who you are, you're going to be a dependent.
Yeah.
We are dependent, but you're going to be dependent. And it's okay to be dependent, but we don't want to depend on outside sources all the time when you got a choice and you have to believe in yourself. And this is where mental health comes in. Depends on the level of your mental stability. People struggle just making decisions, getting out of bed.
That's a
Yeah,
fact.
it's a fact. And it's real. I'm 100% acknowledging that stuff is real. But we have to be comfortable with who we are. And when we're comfortable who we are going to be confident to do the things we need to do to take care of ourselves. I solely believe in Maslow hierarchy of needs. Take care of your bottom needs first. Are you taking care of at the lowest level? If I don't have a house and I'm, struggling with finances, I'm struggling with my relationship, I'm struggling with my balance of holistic health. And this is something that I loved about the military when they came out with holistic health fitness.
Yeah, that's what I say.
When they came out with that and say, hey, you need a spiritual connection. Understand what spiritual connection, whatever it is to you,
So you
get
know,
it. Use it. Yeah, use it. Look at those balances and balance that life. I'm not telling you to be perfect, but there's tools available. Get connected to a resource. So you have to know who you are. If you know who you are and have resources,
make that
you're
much
gonna be
easier.
yeah, and then your support come. This is a community thing. I know it's easier overseas. It's a lot harder to have that military community in the States. However, it's not impossible.
Yeah.
It's not impossible. I pass people all the time and encourage them. Talk to people. We don't talk to people no more. You know, turn the phone off.
About the
Get
phone these days,
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So it's so much more. Like I said, it's a lot. But the first thing, if I had to give you something, know who you are. And if you don't, it's okay. I'm still learning who I
Yeah,
am.
we all are. We all
I'm on
are.
my grow up. I know. I told you I'm in school right now. Like when you said you got a master's degree. Yep, I went back to school.
Let's go.
Who would have known? But know who you are. It's for a purpose. If you know who you are, you're going to be able to portray who you are because you know this. You don't have to be somebody else. That's a struggle people have. So if we can't get over that, don't move to no resources. Let's focus on us. When you focus on ourselves as a spouse, you are going to be able to have success to say, "Hey, I'm content with who I am. I trust and be able to support my spouse's position, their job, the respect in the military and serving the community, serving this nation. When we can do that, we are a bigger help. I used to tell my boys, we are here to be a help and not a hindrance.
Yeah.
And I truly believe that. We're here to be a help and not a hindrance.
Yeah.
The first step to being a help is to let's know who you are. Because even especially service members, I think you guys and as leaders, and this is when I get with leaders and talk with them one-on-one coaching, I'm like, look, I know you got to shine on the outside, but you here now. You got to get to know you. Take care of home first. The same scenario when it comes to being on an airplane. Put your mask on first.
Yeah.
Take your first breath first. For anybody, Bible scholars out there, the first thing God gave Adam was breath. Yeah. So he gave us breath because he can breathe on his own. You got to continue to breathe. We got to keep going. We can do it. We can do it together. Active duty in National Guard, Reserve, whatever position you are, on to retirement. And under even my retirement level with Doug, we still have community. Still have community. So you got to get connected. Get your resources and get your support team. Those will be my top three. Know yourself. You got to know yourself. Because if you know yourself, you're going to be able to be a support. And if you're not there yet, I just got to telling you, I ain't even there yet. I'm still learning.
It's a work in progress. We all trying
It is
to accomplish that. It's a work in
just like
progress.
the sun in the moon. That's why it keeps going around. Say, hey, I missed a spot. Let me go back over again.
Yeah.
Yeah, we get to get up and get new mercies every day.
I appreciate you. Thanks for sharing that, Retta. So I'll let you go here. I want to say thanks a lot for what you have done. Thanks for your over 30 years of service to a grateful nation. I owe you and your family a lot. Real good friend of mine. I'll tell you a story. I'll tell you what happened back at Germany. We went out to it was a lot of us, and
Mhm.
because dogs that show off, we order our food in the restaurant, whatever the case may be, and then he took his little black car. But he waved it right. If you don't have a black car, don't put it out. It's on me. I said, all right, man. Mara's gonna get you. Keep pay for everybody to peel over here, whatever. But both of you guys have had a huge impact on me. I'm gonna say I appreciate you for that. Thanks for who you are. Thanks for your support. But thanks for just being who you are as a person. But most important, putting the needs of folks ahead of your own self-interest. That's what I've observed over the years since I've known you and your spouse. I really want to say I appreciate you. As we close up here, is there anything else you would like to share with the people, especially the veterans out there, military spouses, folks who serve in such scenarios?
Well, I do wanna first, I wanna say thank you for inviting me here. Look, I didn't think I was gonna have fun, but I did have to have fun.
And that's
I was
fun.
gonna tell you at the beginning, I said, for me, I'm usually listening to people. I'm like, I be talking, like, you just talking, it's not often that I do talk, especially in the medical field. We have to hold a lot of stuff in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it felt good. Thank you for welcoming. We've gone through a lot. Everybody's journey is different. There's so many resources out there. There's someone there available in whatever location, whatever branch, whatever country you're in. No matter where you are, somebody wants to help you. You matter, your life matters, and it's important for you to receive what is for you. I usually tell people three things, and I do this in my nursing practice. You got to see the good in yourself first before you see good in others. You got to speak good to yourself first before you speak good to others. And you got to love yourself first before you can extend love to others. And this is what I used to tell the leaders. If you can't practice that, we're lost.
Yeah.
And for anybody, if you practice these three things daily, whether you're in service or retired, you're going to be a benefit to you, your family, and continuing to this nation and the community that you are in. So, yeah, I think that I'll end with that. Yeah. Are
I
you,
appreciate you. I appreciate you again, and may God continue to bless you and your family. And that dog, I said, hey, I got to get him on the show. He's been doctoring me
I will.
for some months
Look,
now, but
I'm so proud of him. I
yeah,
can't wait till he comes because, um, yeah, he's made his a transition, and to see his movement is just beautiful. I'm so proud of him. I'm proud of
yeah,
myself. I'm proud of him for hanging in there and going through the process because we won't have butterflies if we stop the process.
you're
So we have
absolutely
to
right.
go through the process. Everything has a process, and you never know why God put you where they put you. It's for a purpose. You may not see it now,
Hmm.
but you will definitely see it in the future. He's gonna let you know, hey, I put you there for a reason.
Absolutely.
Everybody has a reason to be here.